Good evening and welcome here. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Earl and I'm all right? And this is your counselors. What we do here every Thursday evening is to see how we can discuss on topic and treat topics that you can relate with, that you can pick lessons from, and that you can also share with your friends to learn one or two amazing things from, right? So wherever you are joining us from, kindly mention it in the chat session and we'll see it. And not just that, subscribe right away and share this with your friends so that they know when we go on live and when we post amazing other videos, right? So that the question is simple and it's straightforward. It's one thing that I believe every Nigerian needs to know right now, especially we are in a season of elections, the national elections, that of the presidential, the House of Rep, and senatorial has already happened, have happened already, and we still have that of the states, the governorship, and our respective state houses of assembly, right? So right now we are going through a season. People are getting troubled. People are thinking. People are excited. Some are excited. Some are not excited with the results and the outcome of this election. This is why today's topic is very important. And it is, why should you seek therapy? Why should you consider therapy? Why should you go out there to look for a counselor or a therapist, right? Gone are those days where people used to think that, oh, counselors are, they are just some people there who are psycho, right? Maybe there are some shrinks and all of that. Gone are those days, right? Where people used to believe that. Now we are having many people come and ask for counseling. At the All Right Passion, we receive an average of about 7 requests for counseling every day. Yes, we receive about 7 requests for counseling every day. So people are seeking help, people are asking for help, but there is still this large number of people who are not doing anything to reach out for help, to stretch out their hand and say, I need somebody to help me, I need somebody to hear me out, and I need somebody to attend to me, right? And I don't understand. Over the years, we have always looked towards our religious leaders, towards our parents, especially our grandma, to give us the wisdom that we need for our lives, for our relationships, our marriages, our parenting, our life choices, and the rest, until people started learning the art of counseling. They started learning the different techniques, the different rules and ways to counsel people. As a counselor and therapist of over 19 years, I can tell you that counseling is more than what you think it is. Even for us, who are counselors and therapists, we also seek the services of our colleague counselors and therapists, right? We listen to them, we watch their content, we consume their material. But there are times we still go to their offices and we tell them, I think I need you to assess me, or I think I need you to review my life and review my choices and look into the things that I have been doing. I'll give you an example. In the year 2020, after the lockdown in Nigeria, we had NSAS, a nationwide protest by young people protesting against the Special Anti-Robbery Squad that had now become criminals themselves, right? So there was this wide protest, and the protest was every day for several days. It was very demanding until and the time came that the military shot at people, killed people in Lagos, and all of that, right? Now, remember that we were just coming out from the lockdown, and here was NSAS. During the lockdown, we gave a lot of, we created a lot of counseling products to be able to help people deal with the depression that comes along with staying at home, unable to go out, unable to do the things you would normally do on a regular day. People were going through a lot. People were depressed, people were down, people had many issues. And as counselors and therapists, it fell on us to be there for people, to be there for the world. So we did a lot of counseling, right? We did counseling beyond even our threshold. Like, for example, I mentioned that we receive about 7 requests for counseling every day, but we only attend to I only attend to about 3. Other counselors attend to other people, but I try everything possible not to attend to more than 3 people. Why? It's because I don't have to burn all my mental energy, I don't have to burn all my physical energy trying to help someone, right? Trying to fix people's lives. So I try to still see how I can reserve some energy for myself, reserve some energy for my wife, and reserve some energy for my family. But during the lockdown, during COVID, we were forced to do beyond that regular limit and boundary of 3 per day, because there were too many people needing too many needing counseling per day, right? And after that, it was NSAS. People were hurt, people were broken, people. I attended to people who escaped bullets. I remember one particular lady who mentioned that she did not go out to protest. She was at home watching TV when a bullet literally flew through her room, through her windows, right? Imagine how traumatized she could have been. Like, that bullet could have hit her or any other member of her family. So there were people who faced a lot of trauma during the NSAS, and we also had to attend to them. What was the effect like on me? It means I was burnt out, because some way, somehow, we were forced to almost step into the Messiah's shoes, right? When I mean Messiah here, I mean the deliverer, the superb almighty person who can fix everything, trying to step into the shoes of Jesus or into the shoes of the Holy Spirit. So I was drained. I was drained. It was very demanding. It affected me so bad that I was no longer thinking properly, and I was forgetting things. One day, I trashed 3,000 naira cash in my dustbin, because I could not even remember or identify that this was money. I had to contact a mental health therapist. I had to contact one of our mental health therapists, Toulouse de Francis, and say, guy, please, I seriously need you to evaluate me. And if you have to refer me to a psychiatrist, please do. I'm so open to going to a psychiatrist right now, because this is very bad. All right. So we too, we seek counseling, we meet counselors, and we tell them, oh, we need your advice, we need your guidance, because we are the ones in this mess, because we are the ones in this particular issue. We may not be able to see this clearly, so we need you to help us review. And they do that. So let me list out some of the times and reasons when you may need counseling, where you may have to seek counseling. Number one, when you're overwhelmed, right? If you're overwhelmed by a particular situation, if you're overwhelmed by a particular happening, a particular task, a particular job, if you feel very stressed and sleep is not doing it, then you may want to talk to a counselor. You may want to talk to a therapist who will be able to properly help you properly identify the issues arising. Not just that, a therapist who will also give you guidance of what to do to be able to renew your energy, right? Another time you may want to seek therapy is when you feel fatigued, like you're tired, you just feel tired, you just always feel tired. You're not motivated, you are not longer enthusiastic, you are no longer your enthusiasm has gone down, you're no longer wanting to do those things that used to make you happy before. When you're not anxious, you're very anxious, you're always worried, the slightest thing scares you, you're always frightened. When you have apathy, when you've lost hope, right? And when you also notice that you have withdrawn from your regular social interaction. These are times where you should consider seeking therapeutical services, seeking counseling services. I like the way Forbes put it. It says when you have difficulty regulating your emotions, when you have difficulty regulating your emotions, so you lose it easily, you easily get depressed, you easily get excited, um, you're overly happy, you're overly sad, you cannot control your anger, you seem not to have control over what is happening. You need to seek it, you need to seek counseling, you need to talk to a therapist. Now, when you are experiencing changes or disruptions in your sleep or appetite, you can no longer sleep for as long as you used to do, you find it difficult to you find it difficulty in sleeping, amnesia has set in, or you're no longer, you may feel hungry but you don't just want to eat. Seek therapy. Another time could be when you're struggling to build and maintain relationships. Mhm. If you'll be trying to have type of relationship, to build type of relationship, or you have one right now, but things, no matter how much you try, things are not working, that's a time for you to seek therapy. That's a time for you to consider talking to someone, talking with someone who is trained and skilled and specialized in helping people to help you. And of course, when you are not performing as effectively as you would have loved to or as you ought to at your job or at school, this is another time where you should seek counseling. This is another time where you should say, oh, I need guidance. I right now I'm doing a master's in marriage and family life counseling, and I get to do a lot of courses with different therapists, different counselors and therapists, and I'm like, I am not supposed to be having any problem in any area of my life, because there are people who have educational training, who have special skills to help me, even if it's a spiritual matter, right? So if you have any of that, you should seek therapy. Another time should be when you have experienced trauma, right? When you have experienced trauma, it could also be a time for you to consider therapy, a time for you to consider talking to someone, right? Earlier on today, my wife called one of our therapists in the Rise Passion, Mr. Toulushe Du Francis, and he said, I think my husband has childhood trauma that he needs to deal with, and I think he has some fears that he needs to deal with and he needs to handle. And what was it? The concern that I have, that I usually do not want to leave my children with any person over the night, because I am concerned of them being vulnerable and being exposed to sexual abuse, right? And why will I have that concern? That's because I also went through childhood sexual abuse. I suffered childhood sexual abuse. And so because of that, it put me in a position of a helicopter dad. I did not know I had now become overly protective over my boys. Overly protective over my boys to the extent that it was now negatively affecting our marriage. Because whenever I needed to go out, if we were planning a vacation, if we were planning a holiday, I always like, what about the boys, right? So if you've gone through trauma, any particular trauma in your life, you should consider therapy. Another thing you should consider is another time you should consider therapy is when you no longer enjoy activities you typically enjoyed before, right? So the things that used to thrill you, the things that used to make you happy, the things that used to make you excited, if they're no longer making you excited, if they are no longer thrilling you, then you should consider talking to a therapist. And of course, if you are grieving, when you're grieving, seek therapy. When your physical health has been affected, when you are having a health challenge, find someone to talk to. Even in our hospitals, if you're in Nigeria, if you go to teaching hospitals, there are psychologists. So you can tell your doctor that I think I need to talk to a psychologist, clinical psychologist, that will also give me some mental health boost, mental health support, mental health wisdom, right? Another time you should seek counsel is when you want to improve yourself. Yeah, I remember counselor coming to meet me, like there's no specific problem there about, but he just needed to get better with his life choices and his life decisions and the way he handled and did things, right? The other one is when you're using substance or sex to cope, right? When you are using substance and sex to cope, there are many things. When you notice that, oh, you could almost not do again without sex or without substance. And when I'm talking about substance, it could include ice cream, chewing gum, a bottle of Coca-Cola. It could be an addiction, but you know that this thing, I'm using it to cope with something else. It may be a time and a reason when you have to seek counseling. How do you find a good counselor? How do you find a good therapist? You may want to ask your friends. You may want to go online and search on the different search engines and check their reviews, check what people they have attended to before have to say. And of course, also check out their profile to know if they, because there are many of us that are counselors. For example, in the All Passion, we have more than 20 counselors, but different people are skilled for different things. Not everyone is a professional, is an expert in a particular thing. Yes, as therapists and as counselors, we could be able to work as general physicians, right? We could be able to work as general counselors, like be able to give first aid treatment, be able to give basic counsel, but there are some things that require a specialist handling. So we have specializations too. Like for example, my specialization is sex and relationship. Everything sex and everything has sex also affects your relationship. I may be able to give you counsel in parenting, but I'm not an expert. I'm not expert parental counselor, expert parental therapist. No, I'm not an expert. I will not call myself a specialist mental health counselor. No, or infidelity recovery counselor, or conflict resolution counselor. No, right? I may know the basics, I may understand the basics, I may be able to help you with the basics, but there are times that you need an expert, you need somebody who is just specialized in this particular thing. And so when you're seeking counseling, you should check out this person's profile, check out the reviews, and make your decision if you want this person to help you. And of course, you could always choose online options or you choose physical options. People prefer physical options, and many counselors will tell you that physical options are better, but some will say online session, like from our experience, online sessions also work effectively. So it all depends on what is it. So these are the things that I want to let you know today, that if you notice that you are losing control, right? Should I go through everything I said before? I'll go through it again. I say if you're noticing that you're overwhelmed, you're suffering from fatigue, you're anxious, you're hopeless, you're apathy, and you're socially withdrawn, that's one sign. That's a sign that you should talk to a counselor. You should seek counseling, right? When you find it's difficult, when you're having difficulty in regulating your emotions, when you're experiencing changes or disruptions in sleep or appetite, when you aren't performing as effectively as you want to, either at work or school, when you're struggling to build and maintain relationships, when you have experienced trauma, when you no longer enjoy the activities you typically enjoyed before, when you are grieving, right? When your physical health has been affected, and when you want to improve yourself, you want to develop yourself, that's also a time. Not just that, then when you notice that you are using substance or sex to try to cope with life or to try to cope with something, these are some of the times when you need to seek counseling, when you need to talk to a therapist. Therapists are not shrinks. They are there to help you. They are there to support you. Like we usually say at the All Passion, that we do not heal, we do not cure. We do not take away your problems. What we do is to provide you with help and support, right? So that you'll be able to make well-informed decisions. So at the end of the day, what we'll do is just to support the energy that is already within you. We help you channel the energy you have into solving and dealing with your life's issues. Those are the things we do. Those are the ways we get to help people. So if right now your life is not going as you want it to go, your career, your relationship, your sexual life, your spiritual life, your mental health is not as healthy as you would want, seek therapy, right? If you use the details showing on your screen, you'll be able to reach us, and we have several counselors specialized in different areas of counseling that can help you. Or you could just go online and search for counselor closest to me, check the reviews of the counselors, check their profile to see what their specialization is in, and how much of experience they have in that thing, and make your decision. And finally, always be open-minded to pay for counseling. Always realize that for counselors, this is our profession. Like I mentioned earlier on, that I'm taking a master's right now in marriage and family life counseling. That is costing me money. It's costing me time, and it's costing me a lot of energy, right? And your counselors may have gotten a degree, gotten a master's, or they have gotten several pieces of training and licenses just to be good enough to serve you. Now, if they have to go through all of these to make themselves good enough to serve you, to make them good enough to help you deal with that life's issue, then it is proper for you to find their fees and their charges fair enough when compared to the knowledge they have, the experiences they have, the training they have, and the help that you are wanting. Unless, of course, you're saying whatsoever is happening to you or whatsoever you want to deal with is not a big deal. It's not a big thing. But if it's a big thing, then you should be willing to pay for it. I usually tell people it's best to say, oh, I wish I could afford it right now, but I cannot. Could you consider giving me a discount? Is there a time I should come back? Perhaps there'll be a discount that period. Is there some way I could barter, right? I think that response to a counselor and a therapist is far better than, it's expensive. Oh, I've heard some people say, it's just too expensive. I'm like, hello. If we do not have that kind of profile, I will not have those kind of reviews, you won't have contacted us, you won't have chosen us, you would have started talking to us. How did you think we achieved the things that attracted you? We spent money, we invested energy, we invested our lives. You get it now? I don't know if you're getting it now. We invested into it. And besides, this is our job. This is what we do. We wake up every morning and say we are going to the clinic to counsel people, to help people. How do you think we run our clinics? So if you're choosing any counselor, whether you're choosing a counselor of your right passion from elsewhere, always have the right attitude that, oh, I'm going to pay for it, and I'm going to pay is what I'm going to pay is value. And if I don't have sufficient money, I'm going to negotiate a fair bargain. I'm not going to go to with the mindset that, oh, these people are shrinks and they are too expensive. Like some people will say, how much is the relationship safe, right? I want to end here so I don't take all of your evening. Thank you so much for following till now. Subscribe, like, share this video so that your friends can catch up, because friends of a feather flock together, right? Birds of a feather flock together. So your friends, and evil communication corrupts good manners. So you don't want your friends to have the bad knowledge and orientation in bad things. Whatever good things you're learning, it's proper for you to share it with them. All right. So we want to stop here, and next week Thursday, 8 p.m. Nigeria time, we're going to be having another topic, and that time I will not be the only counselor here. All through the month of February, we had different counselors. In the month of March, we'll be having different counselors too. But today, I just came to tell you the reason why you should seek counseling. If you're in Nigeria right now, with everything that is happening in Nigeria, you should seek counseling. My name is Earl, and I'm all right, and all the way from the city, the ancient and modern city of Ibadan. I say you rock.